Good evening and welcome to That Gaming Show, or as I am calling it this week, the Adelaide Crows Commiseration Show. I am, of course, Jackson Ryan, and to my right is Milky Pixel, and to her right is Mr. Bo, you, Shay. Of course, with the footy season over, it means NBA season begins. Come on, the Spurs! That's what I'm talking about. Let's get that happening. Guilty. I always have a beanie for every occasion.
See, I brought Hershey Kisses to kiss away the boo-boos of the loss.
At That Gaming Show, we talk about the biggest news in gaming this week, and this is where we're going to start. We're going to start with the Overwatch League. We have been following Overwatch League since its announcement, of course, guys. We talked a lot about it. Just quick facts. Kickoff date, January 2018, so not too far away from now. Full teams have been revealed, so we've got 3 international teams, of course, London, Shanghai, and Seoul. Shanghai, I've just got a name. They're going to be called the Dragons. Wow, I'm so surprised. And then there are 8 US teams. I don't think we've discussed the fact that Texas has 2, Houston and Dallas, in fact.
Yeah, there you go.
Which we
but no San Antonio, unfortunately.
No San Antonio, but that's okay. I'll just not follow the league at all. But what I want to talk about, actually, first, is this trailer that's playing behind us. San Francisco's team did the weirdest bloody roster reveal. So obviously in esports and any sport you have a roster of players. San Francisco's team went and revealed their players with this trailer, which basically it had Shaq, it had Jennifer Lopez, it had some bloke from the NFL. You'd probably know his name.
I do know who Marshawn Lynch is, yes.
Marshawn Lynch. No, I know Marshawn Lynch. There's another one there. There's another one, wasn't it? The other guy. I don't know, probably. And I just thought that was weird. So the first thing I want to talk about is, have we already stuffed up the Overwatch League?
It's pretty strange. And Michael Strahan was the other guy who's a commentator. He's a former player who commentates in the NFL. Yeah, look, you look at that lineup and you think, wow, that's a little bit strange. In saying that, Shaq does actually have investments in an esports team, so okay, that makes sense. I understand. Marshawn Lynch is a big Bay Area native.
Yes.
He's now playing for the Oakland Raiders, so he's probably just jumping on that bandwagon. Okay, that kind of makes sense. But then having J-Lo in there, you're like, okay, is she an investor in the team, or is she just, reaching out to the Hispanic market, which is big in that part of the country? Is that the play there? Okay, it seems a bit awkward, but it's also like you can see the thinking behind it. Where they're a professional league. The team owners come from the professional league background. So like, if we were launching something, how would we launch it? Oh, we've got Marshawn Lynch, who's a fantastic star from the area. We've got, J-Lo, who's a huge megastar. Let's just get them all together and create this great presentation video. And all these people in the boardroom would have thought it was a great idea. And so I can see how it came together.
The amount of analysis that you just went into, it doesn't surprise me because you're a smart man, Bo, but the thing that does surprise me is the fact that you knew that much about J-Lo. Did you know who Marshawn Lynch is?
No.
Do you know who Shaq is?
Yes.
Do you know who J-Lo is?
Yes.
Okay, so does this make you want to watch the San Francisco Esports Overwatch League team? That's what I want to know.
No. But it doesn't deter nor entice me to.
Okay.
It's just, okay, they paid Shaq and J-Lo to participate. Cool.
Okay.
Well, insert crickets here.
But that's a great thing though, because you look at like the hardcore gamers who are going to be, one of the target markets for this, the esports enthusiasts. They don't give a shit that Shaq's there or Marshawn Lynch or J-Lo are involved.
Yeah.
But if you want to attract the people who are going to Oakland Raiders games and to other sports in the Bay Area, okay, put a recognisable figure on it. Because the esports guys are like, we're just stoked that it's actually happening. We don't care who's there.
But if J-Lo's there for the non-gamers, this is legit,
Yeah. If only it was 90s J-Lo.
But don't you think that they just phoned it in a bit? Like, I honestly...
They completely phoned it in. No one's denying
Shaq! Do you think the marketing team rang them up and said, J-Lo, can you... this is what we want you to do, right? Have you ever heard of Overwatch? And she would have said, how'd you get my direct number? Talk to my agent, first of all, and send me the script and I'll do it. How much money you pay me? Heaps, great. It's one of those, to me...
It's like they went around the building and were like, oh, Shaq's doing a show with Marshawn Lynch. All right, we'll get those two involved. And J-Lo's, walking past. Like, it literally feels like that much of a mishmash. But,
Yeah.
But apart from my intense and very insightful analysis of
The hype is real.
The hype is real. So the other thing, and we'll just move away from Overwatch just shortly, is NBA 2K are building their own esports league around NBA 2K. And there's 17 NBA teams that are going to have digital representation in an esports league that's around NBA 2K18.
Yeah.
So this is another geo-based esports league.
Yeah.
I guess the first thing to me is, the first thing that stands out to me is that this campaign was using obviously established sports stars to sort of get off the ground.
Yeah.
Is this the way to get into esports for that more mainstream audience? Is that what these plays are?
Yeah.
100%, especially with something like the NBA, which has such identifiable characters. Kevin Durant is a great player in the game, and he's also a great player on the court. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be an easier transition for people to get used to. It's kind of interesting because, looking at the because Madden do it with the Madden
Yes.
Ultimate Teams around the time of the playoffs. They have their playoffs, and while I'm waiting for other games to come on, I'm watching the Madden Ultimate Challenge, and it's like it's pretty cool. Like, it's not the same. Like, you still watch the games, but like, to get me as someone who's not necessarily hardcore into esports, like, I definitely watched the Ultimate Team games.
Yeah, okay.
Because I know who
part of the NFL.
Marshawn Lynch is, and I know Tom
Yeah.
Brady at quarterback, and like, this is amazing having all these guys on your Ultimate Team.
Do you think it's like a way for non-athletes to get their foot in the door with like major organizations like this? Like, these people can't play NFL. I mean, some of them probably can, but they're
Not as
always...
well as how they
Well,
would in
to be an
the
NFL
game.
or AFL or NBA player, you spend a lot of time investing in your physical traits.
Yeah.
With a game like, say, for instance, NBA 2K18, that game, while the series has been around a long time, 2K18 is a different game to 2K17. So these people have only been playing it for 6 months, probably by the time the league rolls around. By the time tryouts are in March. So do you think it's a way for people to just be like, hey, I really would love to be the Boston Celtics, and I can do this by getting into a game? Do you think it's a play for that? From the Celtics' point of view?
Well, I think you have to look at who's playing the sports versions of esports, right? So FIFA, Madden, and NBA 2K. I think people who play NBA 2K would be basketball fans. So it would be a mix of, yes, I'm really good at this, but I'm good at this because I really love NBA.
So you already you have to know
Yeah.
about the game, as in the sport,
Yeah.
before you can be any good at the video game.
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I just think like you would play NBA 2K because you're an NBA fan, and to get especially the elite levels you would need to be to compete in that competition. I don't think you'd have anyone who'd be investing that amount of time if they didn't care who Kevin Durant, that Isaiah Thomas moving from the Celtics, knowing all that stuff and caring about it.
You have to know that to want to be part
Well, I
of it.
don't think you have to know it, but I think you would know it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you would know it because you can't perform in the game without knowing who the players are anyway, right? Like, these guys
Their
are still...
strengths and weaknesses
They're still,
and
that's
their
right. They're
endurance.
still actually rated as they are.
Yeah.
Do you think that is a successful... Do you think that would be successful, the NBA 2K League?
I really like what they're doing. Like, it's a bit different. Like,
No idea.
they're having a draft, right? Like, they're building the teams through a draft. So, okay, like, what they're doing is they're taking the knowledge that they have about the sports industry that they have built up and do very, very well, and they're going, all right, like, here's a new sport. Like, because we're in uncharted territory here.
Yeah.
We haven't had an instance before where a major sport has been launched with major players behind it and major backing and, major partners like the NBA is. So I think we're in uncharted territory, and from their point of view, like, well, look, this is what we do really, really well. Like, the NBA is probably the best run league in North American sports. Hey, let's copy the strategy for it and roll it out the same way we would. And if it doesn't work, like, fine, like, you adjust it later. But if you're going to have a bet, especially with with all the money involved, this is a hell of a way to have a bet.
Well, back to Overwatch, Bo. You were mentioning earlier today to me about a little story about Jeff Kaplan, or Kaplan, or I'm not sure how to say that, to be honest. I think I've heard people say it many different ways.
Our one true leader.
He, Milky, you're big in Overwatch. You might not have seen this story, but But explain it if you can.
Well, I'll paraphrase it. Because
paraphrase it.
Yeah.
Don't have to do the whole
Essentially, it came out and said, the development community. So the Overwatch creators actually, and I'm butchering this because I don't have the story in front of me.
No, you don't need a story.
So essentially,
Basically, the Overwatch-
the people who made Overwatch were hesitant to reach out and engage with the community because they were so worried about what the community might say back to them.
Yeah.
Which that's paraphrasing.
So there was someone on the forums that genuinely asked, why do we not see as many blue posts on the forums? Now, blue posts on the Blizzard or Overwatch forums indicate that it is a part of the development team posting,
right,
an
yep.
official kind of post. Why don't we see them more? And the response was, the sentiment was, people, if there's a change to a character that someone may like and they don't like that change, they have had calls to the offices for people to get fired. They've had death threats. It's like people are a-holes. Of course they're not going to
Hello, gaming
engage.
community, yeah.
Of course they're not going to engage in that kind of talk when it's not beneficially constructive criticism. And it's just, oh, go die in a fire. Oh, go kill yourself. It's like, no one wants to hear that. That's not constructive at all.
Gamers are so reserved in their opinions about their favorite games as well.
So reserved. Yeah.
Do you reckon that places like Ladbroke, Sportsbet will start getting more active in the sort of advertising space around things like the 2K League from an esports point of view? Because they do take bets, of course, on esports games.
Yeah, well, you can't bet on the NBA as far as I'm aware within the night outside of Vegas.
I bet on NBA on Sportsbet all the time.
Yeah, here in Australia, but in North America.
Yeah.
Bet on the Spurs getting destroyed last playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Yikes.
I'm a fan too.
I don't think they got destroyed. I mean, they were outplayed, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to leave it at that because I can't take any more of this punishment, which means now we're talking hashtag content. That's right, we're talking hashtag content. This is a story about the Nintendo Creators Program. Milky doesn't like that, obviously, with that kind of sound. But Nintendo Creators Program is a platform, or a program, in fact, that content creators on YouTube use to monetize content that features Nintendo's copyrighted material. Now, this has always been a bit of a sore point for YouTube. Right? It's always been a sore point for content creators because Nintendo are seen as kind of like a little bit too guarded with their content and they protect their IP so heavily that people think they're a little bit too much. They go a little bit overboard. Milky, do you think they go overboard? Are they too protective?
It's not wrong to want to protect your babies, but at the same time, sometimes you gotta set them free. You gotta let them go.
Yeah,
I mean, you gotta let them make friends with the kids.
Okay, yeah.
It's like if Xbox and PlayStation can do it, and the many developers out there for PC games that go, go, play our game, get the content out there, let everyone see our baby. It's like, well, Nintendo, you're not going to lose money. You're wanting to grab potential other money. But if people are going to buy your game, the content creator isn't taking a part of that profit.
But do you think that Nintendo are sort of confident in their own system, their own way of making money, that they're like, we don't actually really we don't think content creators are benefiting us to the degree that it seems they are for other sort of games
platforms
and content.
And stuff?
Yeah. Do you think that's why Nintendo are like, look, we're not going to actually let you do this sort of thing?
A bit, like,
Unchecked,
it's a factor.
at least. Unchecked.
It's a factor.
Yeah, but Nintendo's always been a company that is very restrictive and very controlled and risk averse with what they do.
Risk averse, of course.
Even look at their how their management structure is.
Yeah,
it's
very Japanese.
It's very Japanese, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it is quite conservative, and it's very like, you know, top down,
Yeah.
and if one person at the top doesn't like everything, then it vetoes everything,
Yeah.
like several levels down. So
And you know, they don't partner with anyone on anything.
That's
you know,
it.
they want to control everything, and
That's it.
you know, it's that whole if I can't completely own something, then I'll just focus on what I can control, which is great, and it's worked well for them. They're doing okay, but you also see it reflected in the other things that they've released. You know, like the Wii and like other things which haven't done so well. Exception, of course, being the Switch, which has been amazing. So yeah, it's very on brand for Nintendo to take a stance like this. You know,
it's
like
unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, yeah, because
but,
like you
yeah.
say, it would have been someone in that hierarchy that's gone.
No.
Wait a minute, Google's too big. You know, I need to make a name for myself. I'm gonna say no more YouTube, and then everyone goes right, no more YouTube, and that's it. So,
Well, this particular change is actually related to them stopping live streaming from occurring from people that are part of the creators program.
Yeah.
Basically, Nintendo's saying, hey, if you're part of the creators program, you can only make content, video content. We're not going to allow this channel to live stream. So you can go and make another channel
Yeah.
and live stream Nintendo content and get it monetized if that's what you wanted to do. Or you can individually monetize each video by requesting from Nintendo. So to me, it just seems like this push and pull that they constantly have with the content creation
Creators.
community, especially creators. But what is the actual trade-off for them? Like what does a content creator do that harms Nintendo besides like using their product for free, basically?
It's not necessarily a tangible outcome, but it's more a community and just for the gamers kind of outcome. So I'll have people on my live stream come in when I'm playing a new game that's just come out. They haven't bought the game yet, but they want to, you know, just have a look-see and see, is this genuinely worth the purchase? And depending on their favorite streamer saying yes or no and explaining it, that could be make or break. That's not tangible. You can't put that into figures because you can't distinguish whether or not someone bought a game because of their favorite streamer or just because they were going to buy it in general.
Yeah.
But it's an non-tangible, you know, thingy.
And
benefit.
there is a risk with live streaming. Like right now, we could swear, and there's no button that producers can push to stop us, you know, to bleep it out. So same thing with the live streaming of the channel. Like especially with Nintendo has products which are very much geared
Family
towards
friendly,
family
kid friendly.
You know,
That's it.
Just you can control that environment. You can control it a hell of a lot better if you remove that live stream element and you have a moderating system. You know, just control your little walled garden.
Yeah, I think that is the whole thing. But why would you see this with Nintendo's first-party titles and then not see it with the comparable titles on, say, PlayStation or Xbox? What is it? Just Nintendo's philosophy? I mean, how come that hasn't changed? I guess with the times as such. I mean, it's a big question.
But slowly.
Yeah.
It's like there
their
has
online's been miserable for millennia.
Yeah.
there has been change. If you see the whole Minecraft coming together like this.
Yeah.
However, it is very slow. It is very, I'm gonna say it, very glacial,
Oh yeah.
right?
It's a good one.
But it's
cold.
But
It's related to temperature. I get it. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, if you see PlayStation and Xbox making strides and PC developers making strides to really open themselves up to the community, the reason why this is such a big topic is because, okay, they're you know, everyone's speeding ahead with the trajectory of how technology is advanced and everything, and Nintendo, they're getting there, but it's here
doing their
while
own
everyone's over there like 100 yards
Yeah.
away.
What strategy
So,
would you
like-
go with, Bo?
What strategy would I go with?
From a content.
Creator.
I prefer the models that Xbox and PlayStation have. I think it benefits everybody if you work together.
Share the love.
Share the love. You know, like they're still doing pretty good. You know, Sony and Microsoft still making a fair bit of money out of their consoles. So yeah, look, I think it benefits everyone. You know, if you work together. But in saying that too, like they're big corporations, like which have shareholders that I don't have to report to. So you know, I understand it. And we did have a comment from Ryan Blunden that was saying, why should Nintendo be at the mercy of content creators without having control over their own IP? And it's, if that's the culture within your company and that fits with that, then you know what, go with it. You've done all right in the past. I think you'll still be okay.
Where do you think content creators fit in this day and age? in the games journalism space, in the games media space? Have these guys carved out a niche that may overtake traditional games media, traditional games journalism? Do you think that they're because of their honesty, really?
Live captured
their
honesty
live sort of
kind
captured
of thing.
stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think that is something that companies like Nintendo are sort of worried about? That, hey, we've actually sort of been able to, in a way, control the narrative and how information about our games gets out in the past. These guys present a threat to the status quo. So where do you think they fit in?
Well, I think that, you know, the way, and you, I mean, you're a journalist as well, so you are very much at the coalface of producing content. I mean, we're doing this show live for the very reason that people are demanding more and more live content.
Authentic,
and,
genuine
yeah, and I was
content.
reading a stat just today where it's 61% of young adults in the United States will stream only. Like won't tune into TV or like traditional cable broadcast. So 61%, like it's quite a big number. So the content creators are moving with the times and trying to create. Facebook have launched Facebook Watch, which has its own content programs in there. Everyone's pushing into live streaming. So yes, I think Nintendo have missed a trick with that. But it's their culture. That's how they operate. Great.
It's their call for their company at the end of the day.
25 years time, they might come around, but it's
might
I think
come around.
To answer your question, from a content creator point of view, yes, I think they are missing a trick there. But you are at the coalface of this every day. Like, how do you perceive the?
Well, truthfully, I think that content creators have a role in games media, but I don't think that they have. I think they feel at the moment like they are hard done by, but they're actually really well done by. And it's a strange thing, right? So I've spoken to a lot of content creators, and I think that for the most part, their intentions aren't driven by anything except passion, which is dangerous. That's dangerous because if your main driver for doing it is passion, you're you've got more of a chance to be corrupted, I guess, in a way. I feel like that even though there's this sheen of honesty for content creators, that they still control their own narratives, but it seems like they don't. Now, has traditional games media been the same? Well, the whole thing about Gamergate stuff's ridiculous to talk about, but the idea that
ethics in games journalism.
The idea about ethics, it's not about in games journalism. It's ethics in journalism
in general,
and ethics in general.
Yeah.
So there's
I would actually disagree with you. I agree with you that a lot of the creators are driven by passion, and the fact that all these platforms are opening up now allows people with very specific passions. Like you can make a YouTube channel just about Mario. Like it doesn't even have to be about gaming. It doesn't have to be about Nintendo. It can be just about Mario. And you can do the same with any other kind of niche, like fishing. Like you can, if you are passionate about it, you now have avenues available to you that you never had before.
So that Mario creator, why would someone go to that person when Mario Odyssey comes out and think that opinion is stronger than a full-blown review on traditional games media website, or not even traditional games media website, but someone that has actively shown that they don't like Mario? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think someone that's, and I've only worked with like big media companies. So, the editors that I've worked with in the past were the gatekeepers of the community and the audience. So they were always like, this isn't true to what our audience needs and deserves. Hat tip to the guys at IGN, because that's who I'm referring to. Like they were always like, no, this doesn't serve our audience. This isn't right.
But I'm separating that because I do that as well.
I'm just using the example that I have.
Yeah.
But I even think like people, they're just so passionate about what they're talking about. If you try and say, oh, great, like, well, if I give you $50, like, will you say? They're like, no, like this is something I'm so passionate about. Like I would forgo that to retain.
I agree from a purely money perspective.
Yeah.
But I reckon if Nintendo,
so it's the only way I operate.
if Nintendo came and said, we're going to give you Mario Odyssey for free and we're going to give you 3 hours to play the game and you're going to get world exclusive content, you think that Nintendo's not going to give them an NDA or some sort of agreement that says you can't say these things, and then that person signs on and they put out a positive review, that is already spun the wrong way.
Yeah.
So that's where they operate in. I'm not at all saying content creators aren't honest, because the majority of content creators that I know and have spoken to are passionate people who are, like you said, they're more about making sure their audience gets information that their audience wants. They cater for their audience.
Yeah.
That's different to traditional games media who have to report. They they have to follow that sort of guideline. But that's a discussion for another day.
But I do actually agree with that. Like when you get sent on a trip to Germany to see the new game X, there is an expectation that you're going to say something nice about it. So, and when you're in a big media company, you're protected by that. You're like, well, no, like I'll do it to best for my audience. But when you're a little YouTuber that's, you know,
you just got a free trip to Germany.
You just got a free trip. Of course, you're going to say something. Right. I understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
Only from that point of view, because I still think that when they go, if they are there and they're doing their live stream and stuff, and they don't like something about the game, you do get that honesty and you get it straight away. So and that's important.
They might catch themselves, but that initial expression.
Yeah, you can. You know.
Okay, yeah, you can see it.
We're way over time for that topic, but it was a very interesting one.
Yes.
So with that, let's talk about virtual reality. Yes, virtual reality, of course, is something that we haven't really talked about too much on that gaming show, I don't think. We've touched on it a few times. It's just a little bit of news for the end of the day, which is about the new PlayStation VR model. So basically, PlayStation have come out and said that they're just going to tweak the hardware a little bit, make it a little bit better. Basically, it's a hardware update that they're preparing, new model number, blah, blah, blah. But they actually have sort of simplified the design. Obviously, if you guys have used a PSVR, there's cables everywhere, and it's kind of a nightmare, to be perfectly honest. No Western release date yet. To me, this is a big news, in my opinion, just because I don't understand how PSVR is as big as it is still. Like, I feel
price point.
I feel like this should have dropped off and no one cares anymore.
Price
point. And say that in even Tokyo Game Show, right?
Yeah.
They showed off a lot of cool trailers for VR stuff, but it's just not generating the sort of like AAA hype that something like, I don't know, like Mario Odyssey or Assassin's Creed would generate in this sort of time frame. So for them to come out and do another model, that says to me they're like, look, we're going to support this thing and we're going to try and make sure this succeeds.
It's not even. I was reading what was linked, and it was like, okay, you make those changes. Where's the changes to the hardware or the programming, like to improve the bugging? No. Oh, you're just going to change the aesthetics and the exterior shell. Oh, okay. So, AKA, no real improvement for the thing that actually matters for the thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I was interrupting you with price point because it's true. The reason why so many people purchased the PSVR is because it's like half the price of the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive.
Yeah.
I love my Vive. Yeah. Holy hell! The first time I was on at home, I spent 3 hours lost playing water bears.
But does it say to you like?
Woke up 3 days later.
Where am I?
For instance, like HTC Vive just announced today as well that Fallout 4 will be packaged in.
Oh my god!
But it'll be packaged in the HTC. But that to me says that's struggling. That they need to go out and do those things.
Oh no, I wouldn't say it's struggling.
But is it like that's the thing? I guess I don't know those stats.
I don't know the stats.
It's not necessarily struggling for developers and people who can afford it. I see it not necessarily as struggling. I see it as we're trying to reach out to that average consumer or that average gamer. Yeah, that just happens to go, I love Fallout.
100%. Like in VR.
Could you imagine if our reactions to what he just said are any indication? It's like Fallout in VR, right? Going through, the wasteland, being in it in VR, man, you can have a time. You are going to have a time.
We got a comment through from Rian Bloom
Slippery.
Saying VR is the case of first mover advantage, so just emerging as a leader in the space to persist with it. From Sony's
it's technology which is going to develop over time. They're in it for the long haul. Everyone you speak to is like VR's the future. Not that you can believe everything you hear, but I think that we're just at the cusp of it. You don't buy the iPhone 1 you buy the next iteration. I think it's the same thing with this.
Yeah.
The very reason with the Fallout thing, Vive is kind of winning that race anyway. Like,
from a tech point of view.
From a tech point of view, and now with that, it's like, oh man, so now PlayStation will find their own Fallout
Little
bundle.
Hopefully.
And we haven't even talked about AR, but we don't really have any time left. The interesting thing that you said, Bo, was about like VR, not first mover advantage, but really Sony has that anyway. They they have the advantage just because of the price point, like you said, Milky. So we bring all those things together at the end. That's what we are, Big Happy Family here at That Gaming Show. That's all we have time for this week. What about next week? I think we'll see you guys then. What do you reckon? All right.